Hi, my name is Daphne, and happy Mother's Day for all of you parents out there. I'm actually sitting in my garden space enjoying the beauty of the garden without having done anything. I think I might have watered and transplanted a plant or two, but for the most part I'm enjoying the fruits of my labor, which basically consists of like herbs and flowers right now. Most of the plants are actually still in the house, so I don't have a true garden update. But I wanted to just talk to you guys and just show you the progress for the seedlings inside of the house. Now, I have looked at the weather report and it does show that in about a week, temperatures at night will be up to 55, closer to 60. And if that is consistent throughout the week, if I can start hardening the plants off in about a week and relocate them from the house, because the tomatoes and the peppers are beyond the point where they need to come outside. So I will show you guys an update on the seedlings, which have actually gotten bigger and made some progress. As mentioned within the last video, I definitely picked the wrong soil in terms of up potting, and I've done that for 2 consecutive years, so I think I actually got it right this year. I did Master Gardener's potting mix, which is basically 99.9% wood chips, wood pulp, and gnats with a little bit of green fertilizer sprinkled in. And that essentially, I had an infestation of gnats in my growing space, and the wood chips did nothing for the growth of my plants. They are literally just flopping. And so I did actually up pot them to Lucky Frog, or I'll put the bag or the name somewhere up there. And within a week I've actually seen progress. So the peppers are actually starting to green back up because the new growth is starting to grow in very light. The peppers, the tomatoes are starting to actually get a little thicker. And then all of the seedlings that were actually up potted directly from their transplant cup with the Lucky Frog actually are just doing amazing. So the collard greens, the all of the cabbage I have in my grow space, all of the flowers are just doing amazing with that new soil. So I'll show you guys the update for them. Now they won't actually be leaving out of the house for at least another few weeks. I do want them to be bigger. I also need to establish a location somewhere around this garden space where I can keep them safe from all of the predation that would like to eat them. So I'll show you guys what the outside garden looks like. Not much has changed because the temperatures at night are relatively cold still, but the temperatures during the day are actually in the 60s and the 70s, and so we do have a few more herbs popping their heads up. So I'll show you guys what that looks like as well. And then we'll go in the house and I'll show you the seedlings. So come with me and I'll show you the garden space for mid-May Mother's Day. So come with me. These beautiful herbs. That is peppermint there, chocolate mint there. It's already starting to come back alive. Look at this, spreading everywhere. It is a healthy, healthy plant. This isn't mint here. This is a weed, purslane. Thankful that it's very easy to come out because you don't want to harvest purslane and mint. Not the best taste. We have some lemon balm slowly starting to come back. Actually, this isn't. This is an empty bed. I might actually build a 2x2, maybe like a 1x2 bed here and actually put another herb here. This actually could be a permanent spot for my banana mint, but I have to replace this container. And then we have our lavender here, which is slowly starting to come back. Might need to be pruned, but I actually wait to prune it until we are in full spring summer mode, so I know exactly which one of these branches is dead, because it's kind of hard to tell, you know. And we have some banana mint. Look at that. I'm gonna try my best to dig this out very carefully and see if I can propagate it. And then our beautiful banana mint here, which was watered, so it's falling over a little bit. Hyssop there, killed the time. But our sage is growing in wonderfully. Look at that. So it's a perennial. I just know next year to probably make sure that I protect it in some way. Maybe wrap some plastic around it and put some leaves in it, just to like see if it'll come back, because that'll be wonderful if it will. I do need another plant for the lemon balm. I'm waiting to see if one maybe pops up somewhere around the yard so I don't have to buy one, because these starts now are like $4.99 at the local nursery, and I'm not appreciating it. They were $1.99 when I brought them. There's some calendula I started from seed, so we'll see if I get a flower from that. And then here was where the St. John's wort was. And my mistake was I dumped some old potting mix. It wasn't old, but I dumped some potting mix in here that had bone meal in it. I mean, it had blood meal in it because I couldn't use it in the house. And I think it was way too much nitrogen, and it basically took whatever was coming up, it took it out. I also think that my cat might be spaying this bed because some of the St. John's wort that was coming up actually looked like it was burnt a little bit. But so I'm going to have to put something around this to protect it. I also think that I might need to just completely remove this bed and actually build a wooden one. Because nothing really that's grown in here actually seems to do well. But can we take a moment to appreciate these chives? I do need to cut them. They're gorgeous. This is going to be this is one of my cherry tomato beds, which is why I have to cut these chives down. I might actually need to separate them because you can see in the base. You can see in the base that they could use separation. Literally for the other ones, I literally just pulled out a handful. The roots and all came out. So if you water these well enough and you pull from the base, you can probably pull a handful out and just transplant them somewhere else. And then we have my last surviving mammoth sunflower here that I have underneath the dollar store garbage can because the squirrels are ruthless. But she's making it. She's holding out. So here's hope that she's okay. And then if I can collect seeds from that one, I won't have to buy anymore. I mean, they're not expensive. They're only like maybe $4 to $5, but I would prefer. But the seeds that you grow in your own yard and collect tend to be stronger if you do it properly. So hopefully I can collect some seeds from it. So beautiful herb garden. And then, let's see if I can open this door. But I'm getting stung. We're having some wasps issues. They like to eat the wood around this trellis. So I'm gonna have to figure something out. Maybe I can paint it and that might deter them. But we have our bee balm and it is doing amazing. I did just mulch the bed. So we have regular bee balm or wild bee balm, and then we also have, I think the lighter bee balm might actually be red bee balm. And that was purchased through Strictly Medicinal Seeds. So this area should be beautiful in flowers. Get that, something's chewing them up. And then behind it we have some asparagus coming in too. So I think I might actually be able to take these. They're a 3rd year plant here. It's a 3rd year root. That one's going to be pretty big. I'm going to wait for this comfrey to finish flowering, and then I'm actually going to cut it down all the way. Look at these flowers though. I'm actually going to cut it down all the way and just dump it in the compost bin. Comfrey is really good for compost, although I need to do it early in the morning so I can get the wasps aren't over here. They're looking for a food source. And then we have our peas. This right here is nothing but borage. Self-seeded because I did not plant any of this. Oh, look at that. I'm going to take it and transplant it out. But the peas are actually doing amazing all around the fence line. Some better than others. So we'll definitely have a good harvest this year, hopefully. And some nasturtiums popping out. I love this bed here. And this is just an old fence that my neighbor gave me. But it works. Propped up on 2 T-posts here with some zip ties. Then nothing's planting in this bed yet, but nasturtiums and green onion, or bunching onion. But this will be the okra bed. And the okra are actually starting to sprout in the house, which is pretty exciting. Although we do have some nasturtiums coming in here. Have some borage coming in. I see some nasturtiums. Still got the dill. And then these got blown over by the wind, but it definitely is time for them to be cut down anyway. Beautiful. Another healthy borage right there. Look at this yarrow. It's about the flower. Right. And look at our salad bed. This bok choy is almost starting to be bigger than my hand. I did actually pull a little bit from the bok choy a couple of days ago. It's still recovering from the hailstorm we got. Probably a few other things. I definitely know I have tunnels in here, which lets me know I have voles in this bed, but nothing much can be done for that. I typically leave my salad greens alone, so I'm hopeful for that. But they've definitely, looks like they've definitely recovered. And I can probably pull from these, but I'm gonna wait a few more weeks, or at least another week, to let them fully recover. Maybe get some rain in them. They're doing amazing. This is the bok choy here, and look at these leeks, how thick that is there. And then the Paris Island lettuce here, and our tatsoi. It's beautiful, it's very healthy. And we have our our cabbage in the house, which won't go in this bed, but they're gonna go in 5-gallon buckets. But we do have our collard greens in the house, which will be coming out in a month or so, and they will go in this bed. And then I just germinated the mustard greens and the turnip greens. Turnip literally just for the leaf, but they'll also be going in this bed in a month or so. Then the purple bok choy is actually recovering quite well. Color is just beautiful. Hopefully I can harvest from that. It'd be wonderful in a salad mix. And then we have our May Queen lettuce, which is bunching up nicely. And our leeks in between them. But in here we do have a few carrots popping up. Now we do have a healthy bird population in this garden space, and so I am not going to remove the tarp or the mesh cloth, just because I do have a feeling they'll be pecked out. Now the seedlings are sparse. I did plant quite a few seeds, but I do believe the soil, I covered the seedlings up a little bit with just like the natural soil that was in here, and it turned basically into like a concrete. I did see in the video though that if you want more germination, obviously keep them moist, because that's a big thing, but maybe don't cover them with actual soil from your garden space. Actually cover them with like peat moss, coconut coir, or cover them with worm castings, which not only would fertilize and not burn them, but it's light, it's not heavy, and so it'll give the seedlings it'll give a lot more seedlings a lot of space to actually germinate without having to come through concrete, because this is essentially what this is. I don't think this is carrot at all, but yeah, little carrots. Hopefully they make it. I'm definitely going to keep the covering over. And then I'm going to have to put something around them just to keep my cat out of this bed. I hadn't thought about that initially when I planted it, but I am so excited. So I'll give you guys an update on my carrots. They're sparse, but I try to water them every single day. And so hopefully they make it. Alright, so I want to show you guys my strawberries as well. Now all of them did not survive the winter. Let's see if I can open this up without a wasp flying out. They're like eating the wood. So all of them didn't survive the winter, but we do have quite a few that were actually, what do you call them? They sent out runners. And so we have this beautiful plant came back here, but I actually believe this might be two. Just looking at the core, it might be two. Might be able to take one of these out. We have another one here. Actually, that's two as well. Look at that. And one there. You have one that came back here. A little runner here that rooted that came back. One here. And then we definitely have a healthy one that came back here. And actually looks like two here. And then I actually transplanted this here. I was thinking I was going to need more transplants, but I actually think I can separate some of these and maybe put one here and just let them run out. And they should be perfectly fine. We actually have some strawberries on this one that I was contemplating pulling off, but I think I might leave them. And I do mulch with grass. Oh, look at this. I have a flower coming in. I actually do mulch with grass. I haven't had too many issues. Typically the roots are, the weeds are surface level, and I can literally just water this area and just pluck them out. So they look relatively healthy, even though the temperatures at night have been kind of cold. I don't fertilize this area, although I did dump some apples, well, bury some apples here like a year or two ago. But I might just put some comfrey tea on it and call it a day. But I don't. So we're in the house now. I wanted to show you guys the seedlings. I do have the lights on and it is still light outside, so it might be a little blurry. But yeah, definitely want to show you. They're doing amazing. Alright, so the peppers are up here. We do have a light on them since they're not directly near the window. And we do have, I've given away a lot of pepper plants, but we do still have a lot left over. We have cayenne peppers, Anaheim peppers, we have some Thai peppers that are actually doing fairly well. You can see these. Some of these I've actually been trying to have flowers, but I've been pulling the flowers off. We have Anaheim peppers here, and these Anaheim peppers are just, they're impressive. I mean, they have a thicker stem and they actually are a more vibrant green, so that's nice. I won't spend too much time on the tomatoes, but we have Cherokee Purples, Kellogg's Breakfast. Most of these have been up potted. As you see, we still do have a few gnats, but definitely not as many as we had before. The Abe Lincolns did horrible. I'm going to have to throw those seeds out. But I did up pot the two surviving ones, and I actually see some new growth coming in on this plant. And so it might not be a complete lost cause. So I might actually have some Abe Lincoln tomatoes this year. We have Amish Pace, which are more than ready to be outside. Like I said, a few of these plants were starting to yellow, so I did try my best to up pot as many as I could. These are the Amish Paste here. Another little suffering Abe Lincoln, but we do have some new growth there. And some Super Sweet 100s and San Marzanos in this area, all of which were literally up potted yesterday. So here's hope that they survive long enough to be hardened off outside. So tomatoes. And then this row here, we do have some struggling white sage. Hopefully I can get these outside. I had to actually up pot this one. I was starting to notice some yellowing here too. You have some beautiful zinnias here. Really healthy marigold. It's been wonderful since I potted this plant. Now in here we're actually germinating some catnip from seed. It wasn't the plan to initially germinate catnip, but I actually purchased the wrong type of catnip. I purchased the yellow catnip, and apparently some cats just ignore it. And so I actually wanted a plant not only that was medicinal, because catnip is a sleep aid and a digestive aid, but I also wanted a plant that my cat liked. And so I'm going to try to see if I can germinate it from seed instead of actually purchasing the plant. Now here we do have some sprouts. We have red okra here coming up, and Star of David okra coming up here. This one we have mustard greens and turnip greens coming up, and I think this is actually a red turnip, a red mustard. What's it called? Yeah, this is a Japanese red mustard, so you'll see a little pigmentation on the seedlings here. I'm not actually going to keep all of these. I've learned my lesson. I just do not have enough space. I'm actually going to snip the smaller ones and just have them one plant per cell, and even that's too much. I don't have enough space in the raised bed for 6 mustard greens or 6 turnip greens. So I'll give away 2 or 3 plants, but probably one may not make it to hardening off, and so you always want to have a spare plant just in case. This row here is red sunflower, the red sunflowers, and I haven't had a lot of successful germination with these seeds. So I'm hoping that the ones I already have outside reach maturity. I'm going to have to protect them because the squirrels are ruthless, and I can probably save seed. And if the saved seeds always work better if it's a healthy plant. So hopefully I can save some seed from the red sunflower and have better germination than I did from the purchased seed. Now this seed is gray stripe sunflower. So we have one here, one coming up here, a little crooked, but it's up. And if I can just get one or two of these plants to survive, as mentioned, I can just save the seed and then have better luck next year. And then we have our basil, which is, I've been pinching the tops of these off because they're all the way at the top here. Look how beautiful this is. This is this lettuce leaf basil. Smell is heavenly. We have Thai basil right in the center, which is more than ready to go outside. And then we just have our regular basil here, which I've been pinching off. They definitely need to go out, but I can't actually put these out to temperatures way above 60 or I've learned the hard way, they'll die a slow, horrible death. And then we have our marigolds here, which have some root growth coming in them. And then we have our squash here, and they have had a huge amount of growth in the last week. So our custard squash, honey baby squash, we have 2 butternut squash, and then just some random zinnias here. They have to go outside as well. I actually think they could withstand certain temperatures, but I'm not going to put any of these plants outside until the temperature is over 50 degrees. But we definitely are running out of space, so I need these temperatures to warm up. Down here we do have our flowers, so our peppermint zinnias, orange zinnias, and red zinnias. I have noticed the difference. They're not in any different conditions, but the red zinnias are actually, it might be the light too. So the red zinnias actually look a little limp, but that actually might be they weren't getting enough light. So let's see if that's the case. But we have our orange zinnias and peppermint zinnias. They are very healthy, all from saved seed, and these are actually just uppotted directly into the Lucky Frog soil. And that might actually be the contributing factor to their health. And a whole lot of cabbage, and I really only have enough buckets, I think, for 4, so the rest of these might be given away. And then we have our collard greens, which are doing amazing. This one I actually pinned down. So we have our greens down here. Suffice to say, they have reached a point where they need to be kicked out. But we still have about a week for the peppers and the tomatoes and probably the squash. I know the zinnias and the basil are a little more frost sensitive, so we definitely have to make sure those temperatures are consecutively at 60 degrees before they go out. And then the turnips, mustard greens, and collard greens, and the cabbage will be in here at least a few more weeks, just until I have a spot to keep them in where it's protected. So a little in-house nursery. And we do have a fan blowing on them, and the window remains open just to let some humidity out of here, which is beautiful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your gardens are doing amazing. I know it is exploding with growth. Some of you guys actually have squash. I don't know what part of the planet zone 6B you might happen to dwell in, but I've seen squash, I've seen small tomatoes now. I'm jealous to some degree, but I'm actually okay with waiting for my garden to bloom in all of its beautifulness. So I will live vicariously through your videos of your squash and your zucchini and your tomatoes and your asparagus harvest, because we're kind of late in the season for that as well. Like they're coming up, but they're sparse because it's so cold at night. But I watch your videos in hopes that my garden will thoroughly catch up. And I hope your guys' gardens are doing well as well. I hope that you guys have not kicked your seedlings out of the house or your growing space as of yet, especially if you are in zone 6B or lower, because we do still have a few cold nights ahead. And that's always inevitably the question around this time of the year is, when can I kick these plants out? When can I start hardening them off? And then you take them outside and you harden them off, and inevitably they stunt or they die a slow, horrible death like mine kind of did last year. I killed every single one of my basil plants because I hardened them off too early. So this year I am actually waiting closer to Memorial Day to get them out here to harden off, not to put in the ground, but to harden off, so that I will have healthier plants. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and you have a great and wonderful day. Peace.